Welcome back to ESCBubble's coverage of Eurovision 2021. We are going to be looking and talking about day 2 of rehearsals, and we have here with me our 2 bloggers from today, Joe Sampson and Hyde, and we have also got from Twitter and articles today, Carl Finlayson and David Clues. Say hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hi. Right, so we got a lot to crack through. We had 9 it was a really full-on day today, and we got a lot to talk about. And we started this morning with Cyprus, and well, a lot of hype, obviously, with El Diablo and the content of the song. So I'm going to go to you first, Anne, and you're going to let us know what you thought of El Diablo.
Cyprus have pulled it out again with the staging. It's very of its type. If you've seen Fuego, if you've seen Replay, you kind of knew what to expect with El Diablo. It was slick. They've got some mirrors behind them, so the 4 backing dancers that Alene's got are duplicated. So there's 8 and there's 2 Alenas as well. Can't have too many Alenas really. And yeah, I thought it was really slick and lovely red staging as well. And she's wearing this amazing tassel dress. I thought, oh, Annie Lorak, but it's sort of Annie Lorak, but a 2021 version of it. And yeah, it's just fantastic. I really enjoyed it more than I thought I would. It's not been one of my favourites, kind of in the lower reaches of my top 10. But yeah, I thought they did a cracking job today.
And Carl, what did you think?
Yeah, I thought a really, really slick professional performance. It really actually reminded me of a performance that you'd see at the AMAs or the MTV Awards that had a real like pop commercial quality to it, and a very American like BB Rexa type vibe, which I thought really came through really strongly. It looked great on camera. Yeah, and she sells it really well. It's a great track on studio, and I was worried about how it might come across on stage, but I thought they did a fantastic job, and yep, I think they can be very proud of themselves. Great performance.
Yeah, pretty positive all around there. So let's do a quick fire, qualify or non-qualify from everybody. Joe.
Yes, I think it will qualify, but I'm not a fan.
Okay, David.
I am a fan, and I also think it will qualify.
Okay, Carl.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a cert qualifier for sure.
Anne?
Yeah, I was always on the fence about it, but it's a qualifier.
Yeah, it looked really good. I mean, I've got nothing particular to add apart from what you both have said, but qualify for me, definite. Potentially top 5 on the semi-final. Right, so second on was Tix from Norway with Fallen Angel, and I don't think we got any particular surprise here because obviously we'd seen it at MGP. But Joe, do you want to tell us what you thought about Tix's performance today?
Yeah, I think it was a solid rehearsal. I think it was, yeah, every run through that he did, I think, you know, he performed pretty well. Not really any surprises, very similar to the performance in Melody Grand Prix. And I think for me, this has been a real grower since it was first selected. And every time I see it, I just kind of sort of warm to him more and more, I think. And I think I was kind of sort of hooked in by the music video that came out a couple of weeks ago. And I just find it very, very charming. Whether or not the viewers at home that will just be seeing this performance just, you know, straight off the bat, I don't know if they would necessarily get that, and whether or not it would appeal to them quite so much. But I was really pleased with what I saw today. I thought he looks like he's enjoying it. There's been some backstage clips as well of him dancing to Matahari, and he was cheering on Albina when he was leaving the stage. He was singing TikTok. So it's great to see the artist getting really into the spirit of things as well.
Excellent. Carl, what did you think?
Yeah, it doesn't really do much for me. I feel that it's just very much there still, and I was hoping that maybe, you know, with the music video coming out and it's got a great positive reaction, it's a great video, but now we're back to the same as MGP, and I think that casual viewers aren't really going to get that connection that the video has provided a lot of people with. It was okay, it was there, the staging was decent, and you get the message of the lyric coming through for sure. But I think following Cyprus, it did fall a little bit flat for me in terms of the, you know, the vibe on stage and what actually came through. Yeah, I'm not convinced on this one for Norway.
Okay, I mean, before I just go around quickly for your predictions, go and watch the meet and greet if you haven't seen it. It's really touching, quite sensitive. Some of the questions he's really opened up about himself, so I would definitely recommend that. And I will ask you first, Anne, what do you think on your predictions?
I've had it as a sure qualifier all the way along, but with the lack of the backing vocal track, sounds a bit thin. I'm still going to say qualifier though, as I just want to caveat it with a few things, but yeah.
Sure. David?
As borderline as it can be, I might be underestimating its televote potential, but I'm probably going to say just the non-qualifier, 11th place.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah, I'm very much on the fence of this one. I think if it does dip through, only just, but it's going to be within that 9 to 12 zone, I feel. And I'm going to say it's just going to miss out
okay.
at the moment.
Joe?
I think he's going to qualify. I think that the charm will come through in the end, and I think he'll qualify reasonably comfortably. I think.
I had it as a qualifier initially. Obviously, I've seen everything now, and obviously some of the stuff we talk about later, we have to sort of relate it to that. I've got it in that 9 to 12 zone as well, so I'm being cautious with an NQ for now, but I'm open-minded about it, and I think you're right, Carl. It did need to be there need to be something extra from MGP, and I wasn't feeling that, so that's how I've based mine. So
then we're ones that have lived with the MGB performance since January, and we've seen it, and people, the majority of the audience watching the semi-final won't have seen it, and it'll be new to them. So that's the one of the caveats, by the way. I'll shut up now.
Good point. And for any songs that we've seen before, we have to obviously make sure we refer to that too. So third on was a very energetic and colourful performance from Albina from Croatia with TikTok. And David, let us know what you thought of her rehearsal.
So I really love this song. I think it's catchy. It's got a fantastic hook, great melody. I think she sells the crap out of it. I think she's a fantastic performer. And I think even on stage today, she kind of blew my mind even more than I was expecting with how much of a performer she was. The vocal wasn't 100%, but it's first rehearsal, that's fine. I loved the bit with the holograms on stage. I thought she made good use of both stages, and the dances, it all kind of went really well. Yeah, I think all in all, I was umming and ahhing about how well I thought it would do because of so many strong songs in the semi. But I think based off of that performance, I feel more confident than I did before. So I think they've done all they possibly could with it. So well done to Croatia for that.
What did you think, Anne?
Yeah, I mean, she wasn't holding back on the vocals, and the fact that she wasn't holding back on the vocals, yet she still missed those two big, long, high notes, really scares me. And I think if you're looking at the dearth of female up-tempo bangers in semi-final one, which one is the one that's going to be found wanting? And I really worry it's going to be Albina. But she loved it up there today. She was loving it. The staging has been ramped up from what we saw in Dora back in February, and it was slick and it was well performed. I agree with you, David, the bit where they were walking between the main stage and the other bit and they're strutting down and they're doing their thing, that was so good. But I just worry that you're going to have voters who will say, right, I'll vote for a couple of female bangers, I'll vote for another, and whether it will come out as one of the ones they choose to vote for, I'm not so sure.
We're not short of selections on female up tempos in the semi-final, and you're right, something will get cold, and it's just hard to pick the right one. So on that basis, I'm going to ask you whether you think it's in or out for the grand final. So Joe.
I think she's just going to miss out.
Okay, nice and short. Carl?
Yep, 5 female up tempos in that second half. I think Croatia might be the one that just misses out too, sadly.
David?
Yeah, I'm going to buck the trend a little bit. So I think it will be enough just straight through as a qualifier.
And Anne?
Something's got to give. I think she's NQ, but not deserved NQ.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know, I wrote down my list just before we did this and I had it down as a Q, and now I feel like you've talked me out of it. To my guns.
All the power. I love it.
Just staying in, Anne, okay. And but yeah, you know, there's a lot to work on with the notes. I think everybody's sort of on board with that, and we'll see what happens with second rehearsals. Mm-hmm. So the last one on this morning was a very big change of pace with Belgium, Hooverphonic, and The Wrong Place. And this was a very black performance. And Carl, can you talk us through this one first?
Yeah, a total contrast to what we did see today. You know, completely pared back and delivering the vocal and the band vibe, which we don't really have at all in this semi-final. It really does stand out on its own, and I think that's its real strength in that. Gaika is a wonderful vocalist and a great storyteller through her vocal. I thought the camera angles looked good. I loved the shot of the backing singer and her in the same shot. I thought that worked really well. The camera moved around quite a lot, and there was a slight issue when it moved around the piano. I thought she looked a little bit, you couldn't see her then. It would have been nice to maintain that contact throughout, but I think it's dark, it's moody, it suits the song, and it stands out, and it's quality. I think it's real quality, so I was impressed.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about this one as well. I mean, I wasn't a big fan of it beforehand. I find it a little bit on the dreary side, and I don't mind stuff like Portishead. You know, sort of grew up with that, but I wasn't really feeling it before. But from the moment it came on, I thought it was really impressive. It looked really good. If you watch the clip on Eurovision TV's YouTube channel, it doesn't really give you a full sort of flavour of what we saw. It looked a lot more slicker, a lot more polished, and as Carl was saying, the side shots looked really effective, especially with the backing singer stood at an angle behind. So I really think that the fact that it comes after Croatia and the change of pace is in its favour. It's obviously got Israel straight afterwards as well. So I think it has potential. I know that the bookmakers aren't too hot on it, but I think it can get through. It's just a case of I think they're doing the best they can with it. I don't think they could have styled it or choreographed it any better. So they're all sort of like just sort of like sat around as a band, and it's just like a gig vibe. It's quite effective. Right, so let's do some predictions on this. Anne.
It was a pared back performance, and it will be pared back votes, non-qualifying.
Okay, Joe.
So I think this is 10th or 11th. This is absolute borderline. So yeah, do I have to say one way or the other?
You do, I'm afraid.
Yeah. I'm going to say she's going to make it.
Okay, in for you, David.
Yeah, I love the steady cam. I think it's going to stand out really well, like Ireland 2018 did. Qualifier.
Yeah, it's in that 9 to 12 zone for me. But I think it's too good to miss out, and I think this will make it through. Yeah, qualifier.
I'm wobbling again. I had NQ written down, but maybe I've talked myself into Q. I might swap Croatia and Belgium around after this. Who knows? But I've got it as a non-qualifier for now. But actually, I feel like I talked myself into it. So don't listen to me. We'll move on. We had a lunchtime break then. We needed it after a full-on morning, and then we had a very full afternoon. So we came back to Israel and Eden and Alene with Set Me Free. This is a song that's gone through a lot of changes since it first came out this national final. And we saw, a very energetic and enthusiastic Eden who was playing around with her vocals a lot. So David, let us know what you made of it.
So I'm going to try not to be a little fangirl here. I am a huge fan of this song. It's definitely one of my favorites this year. I think of all the rehearsals we saw today, Israel were the delegation that played the most around camera angles. Every single run through, they tried different choreography routines, they tried different camera angles. And I think once they have time to piece everything together, it's going to look incredibly polished on stage. There's no doubts about the vocal. She didn't retry the first run through we saw, but she still did the whistle notes fantastically. And then for the rest of the run throughs, vocal from start to finish was fantastic. She's just such a warm performer. She's got so much charisma, and she draws you in. I think they've done a dirty a little bit with the backdrop because it's a bit basic. It doesn't really change at all. She's such a strong performer. It would be such a shame if she was to miss out on the final.
And did Eden set you free?
Pink and blue neons. Gonna do it every time, isn't it, Joe? Every time.
Yeah,
so yeah, always happy with that. And I love the side stage backdrop thing, being the imagery of her in neons. That was fantastic as well. Just they were having so much fun up there. I wanted to be up there. I wanted to be strutting down that little walkway. The bit where she did the costume reveal, they did the costume reveal at the end as well, was like, oh, she naked. But she is, but she was like pretty much, there's not much there of outfit number 2. But it was amazing. And then they put a little bit of extra hair on top of her to give her a crown. I mean, it was just everything. I never really thought much of the song. When you listen to it standalone on studio performance, on studio sound, then it's okay. It's a good song. But you put it there with the performer, with the staging, and it was, oh my God. So I was fangirling just as much as you, David.
The bit when they tried to drag her costume off in the second rehearsal, I did gasp a bit when she reacted.
We've all been there, Nick. We've all been there.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Right. So let's get predictions on this one. I'll start with Joe.
So I, before today, had this down as an NQ, but from what I've seen today, absolutely, I think this is going to make it.
Kyle?
Yeah, I had it borderline hoping it would qualify. And I think from seeing today, I think this is risen above Croatia. And I think Israel's success will be to Croatia's detriment. So I think qualifier.
Okay, David?
Yeah, so we've just seen it do so well in Euro jury as well. I think, honestly, this is going to come top 5 jury and it's going to sail through. And also, just as a note, so her dress, the reveal, I don't know if you look closer to it, it's actually made of braided hair. And to go with her hair, so look at that if you haven't. It looks really cool.
Is she whistling her way to the final, Anne?
Ew, the thought of a hairdresser's just turned my stomach a little bit. I mean, Euro jury who? She did really well with the ESCBubble poll, and that is the one that you really need to be looking at. Thank you. Sailing through.
I've got it as a qualifier as well. I was really impressed at the fact that she tried the notes out. I probably, if it was me, I probably would have saved my voice, but she did it. She was great, and I can see they're tweaking with it. Each performance was quite different, so there's a lot to look forward to in the second rehearsal. Now, we then moved on to a song that's been very much talked about today, given it was, I think there were mixed reactions, I would say, to Roxen and Amnesia. And Joe, you were blogging about it. What did you make of her rehearsal?
So I enjoyed it, but we can't get away from the fact that the vocals were not great. But these first rehearsals are never about the vocals. I mean, of course, they want to bring their best vocals to any performance, and they know that we've got various members of the press and people that are commenting on what they've seen. But the thing I like about Romania and the song this year is it's just so creative, and I think the song itself just really stands out on its own. Above so many songs this year. It's not the type of music that I generally tend to listen to, but it kind of sort of sneaked into my kind of overall top 5 before the competition, which amazes me because it's not the sort of thing that I would normally turn to. And I think what we've seen on the stage is she's tried to replicate the theme of the video with the dancers and trying to kind of sort of get them under control. And I just think it works really well visually, but the choreo for her, I think, is obviously impacting on the vocal performance. So I think it's about finding that right balance and maybe just trying to do the edges of what she can to try to safeguard that vocal for the night. And I'm sure as we move through rehearsals that will come together. But for me, I just still really adore this song because I just think the message is really powerful, and that just comes across to me alongside all of these things that we've seen. Yes, we've got an awful lot of good songs in this semi-final, but this one, it just seems very authentic and creative, and yeah, I really want to see this make it through, and I think it needs to improve a little bit, but I'm confident that she's got it in the bag.
Okay, I don't have quite the same view. I think it needs to improve a lot, both vocally and with the staging. She's dressed in like a Billie Eilish, I hate to sort of categorize it like a type hoodie, and obviously she's got her backing dancers there with her, and it's very frenetic for the first 2 minutes. She's moving around a lot, and you can obviously hear the fact that she's struggling for breath, and it's having an impact on her vocals. Looking at it, I know there are a lot of changes that can be made, and I'm sure they're making the adjustments that they need to. I just have to say that on what I've seen today, I wasn't particularly impressed with it. And, the song is really, it's really good. It's catchy. You would hear it on the radio. I've got no doubt about that. But I think if they want to be serious and be competitive with it, they're going to have to make some changes to it so that she just didn't look comfortable to me, and she didn't look like she was enjoying herself up there. And maybe part of it was nerves. I picked up a few nerves from her, but yeah, let's hope she can come back second rehearsal and really smash it.
Can I just come back on the costume, because I think that's been another talking point as to whether or not the kind of sort of casual clothes that she was wearing is actually her stage costume, because sometimes in previous Eurovisions we've seen that in the first rehearsals people don't come out with their full costume, and we've seen changes. You know, there was the famous Anja Nielsen dress that went through a huge change. But I think if you're going to stage this song, you can't stick her out there in a ball gown. It's not that's not the song, and it needs to be something like that, I think, to really kind of sort of get the whole point of the song across. It's not that kind of sort of typical kind of sort of song where she needs to aim to be looking particularly pretty, because that's really not what the song is about. So I wouldn't be surprised if actually that is her stage costume, and actually good on her if it is, because I think that's the sort of thing that's actually more important.
I think I just mentioned the costume. I'm not particularly hung up with it. I think it was more the case, and I think David said this earlier to me, it looks a bit like Statements from Lorena. We know how that ended up. So, bearing that in mind, let's do some predictions. Anne.
Yeah, I was going to say about the costume, because I think, you know, if you're going to think about personal struggles, you're not going to be doing it bathed in sequins. So it doesn't bother me one way or the other. I reckon there might be some AI to come. Watch this space. Sailing through.
Sailing through without the AI, right? Kyle.
Yeah, I love the song. I really hope that it manages to come together, because I think there's huge potential here. Just pare her back a little bit to give her the time to breathe, and the vocal will be great. And I think it's got great potential. So I still think this has quality to be a qualifier, yes.
Okay, David.
Yeah, so she's never been a clean singer. She's got this accent, she's got the breathiness at the best of times, never mind when she's dancing around. So I don't see much issue with the vocals. I think she's going to qualify.
Joe?
Sailing through.
Okay. Look, I have to base on what I've seen today. I've got it as a non based on today, but I'll keep an open mind for the rehearsals. It's certainly not, I've certainly not buried it near the bottom like North Macedonia, but yeah, it has.
Let it go.
Let it go. Okay. Well, speaking of appearances, then we had Azerbaijan on next, and one of my personal favourites, Mata Hari. Now, obviously, she hadn't got the full sort of makeup on. Her hair was pretty much loose, so we'll have to bear that in mind. But David, you're going to tell us what you think of this one first.
Yeah, I think it was pretty incomplete on stage. I think there were shots that suggested that we're going to get quite a bit of pyro, and they're just saving the money, which, to be fair, happens quite a bit in first rehearsal. So go for it. For me, my issue with this is that I don't know how much of a song is actually in there, and it's a song that needs a stage performance to coincide with it. And she was as static as a really static thing. I can't think of anything, but a caravan. That's exactly how static she was. She did a bit of arm movement, fantastic, but it's not going to cut the mustard when the stage is so big and you just look so small there. And we've got so many up-tempo females that do bring huge shows, have so much charisma on stage, and there's no issues with her vocals, but did it wow me? No, I just think it's going to get lost, especially with what's around it either side, unfortunately.
I'm going to take your caravan, and I'm going to say classy, upmarket mobile home. Okay, it's not upmarket, but
what planet?
So look, I mean, vocally, I had a lot of reservations about this beforehand. She hadn't performed live much. She'd done an acoustic version, but doing an acoustic version is very different to, I was going to say, an energetic performance. Obviously, it's not as energetic as maybe anticipated. I mean, I was trying to watch the camera angles very closely, because you can do that when it's quite static. And I've got the impression there's stuff going on with tighter cuts. I think the last 20 seconds, you know, when the music just sort of kicks in and it goes a bit sort of really heavy, there was a lot going on there, and the camera was cutting quite quickly. So how that looks on TV, I don't know. And that's probably a very memorable part of the song, because it's the impression you get with it when it ends. So yeah, I'm struggling to talk positively about it, and it's a shame, because I really like this song, and I love Cleopatra. I love this. She could sing any old generic banger to me, and I'd be on board. So based on that, and you'll have to get my prediction, I guess, at some point, but I will start with you, Anne.
I'm a big fan of recycling, so well done for using Cleopatra backdrop. I'm going to have it as a just about qualifier, but not as high as maybe Mr. Nick would like.
Joe?
I don't think this is going anywhere near the final.
Okay. Kyle?
Yeah, it's too static and lacks the energy that it needs to stand out with these other female tempos. I don't think it's dead in the water, but it's one of those 4 I've got in that 8 to 12 zone. But I think I've got this one just missing out, non-qualifier.
Yeah, if this wasn't Azerbaijan, let's be honest, it would be 15th or 16th best. I think Azerbaijan gives it a path, but it's a non-qualifier for me.
I have got it as
Sorry, Nick.
non-qualifier at the moment. I know. Gasps all around. Look, I mean, I'm just comparing it with the other performances that I've seen, and I have to judge it based on that. If I was judging Alene, obviously it would be first. It would get 200 points, and all the others would be we could forget about those. But I'm not in charge of the voting, so I have to be realistic. And if you set the bar low, you can only be surprised by a positive result. But I don't know. Maybe we'll see some more next rehearsal. I say that about all the songs anyway. So we then had another short break, and then we had a very, very energetic performance from the Ukraine, Goa and Shum. And Anne, I know you were very shook by this. So listen.
Oh my God. I've been waiting for this for so long. I said at the very beginning of the blog today, go back and read it, it's a hell of a ride, that it was one of the 2 that I was really, really looking forward to seeing, because I thought they're going to bring some chaos, and it wasn't chaos, it was organised chaos. It was fantastic, from Katerina's feathery arms to the fake snow to these ring things that they put as a halo over her head at the end, which I thought was really good. It was just brilliant. I just loved it. It takes the song and it just elevates it to a level that nobody was expecting, and the amount of people who were shook by it was really quite impressive. I think they could possibly be banging on the door of winning the whole semi-final with this, and yeah, I bloody loved it.
I think you were impressed then. Now, David, I know you were never the biggest fan of this, but I think you might have had your mind changed by this rehearsal, maybe.
Yeah, so to be honest, it's been growing on me quite a lot. It's one of those songs you can play really loud in the car when you're on a motorway, and it just rocks out completely. Solove last year didn't do it for me. I found her voice annoying, and just sorry. All in all, I just thought that was destined to non-qualify. But this year they've really pulled it out the bag. I think they've had a year to work on it. I think this song is fantastic. Her voice is so much more accessible to everyone listening. And just in general, I think like really, really positive, honestly, really, really positive. I thought the staging was fantastic. I was screaming by the end because it just looked so incredible after that drop for the last minute. And her voice, how does she control her voice so much in such an intensive vocal workout? Honestly, well done, Ukraine. Probably my favorite, the semi-final on rehearsal alone, to be honest. So really good job.
That last minute is really something. You're all in for a treat when you see that. And Joe, you can give your prediction as you dance away there.
Yeah, because I just want to be in that arena raving with all of my mates at Eurovision, because it's just kind of sort of set up for that kind of performance, really. So I think it works really well. Yeah, for me, absolute sailing through.
Right.
Top 3 in the semi, I think.
Kyle?
Yep. Great performance. Slick, polished, beautiful background, really impactful, completely qualifying.
David?
Yeah, likewise, easily qualifying top 3, probably top 10 in the final, if not top 5.
Surprised me, Anne.
Welcome back, Ukraine. We've missed you. Sailing through.
Okay, I'm gonna have to join you on that sail. And yeah, easy qualifying. Probably top 3 in the semi-final for me. So that was leading us on to our final performance, much anticipated, at many points bookmakers' favourite. It's sort of flip-flopping with France a little bit at times, but there was a lot of hype and a lot of anticipation for Destiny and Je me casse. And Joe, you were blogging that. What did you make of it?
I was, and I guess before I start sharing my thoughts on this, I should probably say that I fully recognise that my own opinions about this song go somewhat against the grain. And I recognise this is a really popular song. It's one of the favourites, and a lot of people have got time for it. But for me, there's just something that I'm missing. For me, it's just a very basic pop song that sounds and feels like it's come off of the conveyor belt that we know that it actually has. With its kind of sort of history through kind of Melody Festival. And does it have a strong message? I mean, people are saying it's, it's this strong message about female empowerment, and, and Destiny is all about that. But isn't it written by a group of guys, from what I understand? And I'm not sure what kind of sort of creative input Destiny herself has had in any of this. I mean, I see her put on the stage in that outfit, performing in that way. And I just don't get a sense of Destiny. I just get the sense that she's been kind of sort of instructed, and it's all about kind of sort of the team around her. If you want a song that has that creativity, that has that strong message of female empowerment, then look to Manisha, look for Samantha Tina in Semi 2. For me, this is very kind of sort of weak in that sense. The performance, she's brilliant. I love Destiny, and this is one of the reasons I guess I'm disappointed by it, because I know what she's capable of. Seeing her performances in X Factor Malta, in Junior Eurovision, the way that she's developed as an artist over recent years. I just wanted something else, I think, rather than just picking up this song and going with it in the way that they have. I wish them well. I wish her well. But for me, this is not one of my favourites at all in this semi-final.
Okay, Carl, did you get the X Factor from this rehearsal?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I feel, Destiny is the best thing about the whole package from Malta this year. Anyway, she's fantastic, and she gave a great rehearsal performance. I think it's really fun. It's really young, and the song does have a message behind it. I know what Joe means about authenticity, but sometimes it doesn't always need that. Look at Tamara last year. Look at a song like Sinead O'Connor, Nothing Compares to You, which wasn't written by her, but you feel that emotion that she gives to it. And I think Destiny takes the message and gives it in a really fun, young pop way, which I think appeals to the market it's going to appeal to. I thought she looked great. I loved the colours on stage. I wish there was maybe a little bit more going on pyro-wise. I'm sure that maybe will come in time. Just to give it a bit more of a boost at the end. We saw a little bit of pyro at the end. But yeah, I think it's a really strong performance. Is it going to win? I don't think so, but I didn't think it was going to win anyway. But I think it's going to give Malta a great result. And yeah, I'm pleased for Destiny.
Okay, so very quickly, because we're pretty short on time, I'm going to ask you very quickly, qualifier, non-qualifier.
Fully. Me, yeah, qualifier, but really underwhelmed. Authenticity, where is it? But qualifier, all the same.
Okay, David.
I really loved it. I thought I don't know what more they could have done really to elevate the song. It's a qualifier though, for sure.
Yeah, qualifier for me.
And Joe, quickly.
It's qualifying, but I don't know what's in people's minds.
Qualifying easily, no doubt about it. Right, we're going to have to wrap up quite quickly, everybody. So thank you for your suggestions, everybody who watched yesterday, in regards to feedback. And we've tweaked what we're going to do a bit today. So just very quickly from everyone, I want to know who you thought won today's session, what was the biggest grower for you, and which one you think is the biggest loser. Just very quickly, just say the names of the countries, and we will start with Joe.
Ukraine is the biggest winner, I think. It's also the biggest grower for me. Biggest loser, I think probably Azerbaijan.
Okay, Kyle.
Yeah, winner today, I'm going to say Ukraine got to be. Biggest loser today, between Romania and Azerbaijan, purely from what we've seen so far, but I feel that Romania has more potential, so I'm going to say Azerbaijan is today's loser as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll chime in exactly the same. Ukraine both as grower and probably the winner of today, and yeah, sorry Azerbaijan.
Okay.
Wow, I hate to be just like an echo, but my winner 100% was Ukraine, and the grower, I might even say Cyprus, because I had Ukraine in my top 10, whereas I didn't have Cyprus. So for me personally, maybe grower would be Cyprus, and sorry Azerbaijan, even though I did say you'd qualify, nobody else did.
Okay, I'll mix it up a bit just because I want to. My winner today was Malta. I know Joe's probably going to give me evil eyes for that, but that's the way it was. My grower was Belgium. I felt differently about it afterwards, so it definitely grew on me. And my loser of the day, oh God, Azerbaijan. Right, let's move on. Right, so thank you for watching. We'll be back tomorrow with day 3, and we will have the second semi-final starting. So we will give you some fresh input on that. Do not forget to subscribe, read the live blog tomorrow, follow the Twitter, and obviously read all the articles. And we will see you then. See you later.
Thanks everyone.
Bye.
Take care.
Game.